and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com, as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind. This is the Lightning Flash update for January 18th, 2020. And first things first, I do want to thank each and every single one of you for being so fucking awesome over the last 2 weeks. The last 5 videos that I have uploaded have accumulated nearly 1,000 views. The watch hours are going up tenfold, up 34% each and every single week. Man, you guys are absolutely fucking awesome. I do owe you guys the absolute world. A little bit different attire this week for the Lightning Flash update. No wrestling t-shirts. I'm actually wearing a little zip-up, collar-down shirt. A little fancy. Might as well call it the Fancy Flash update. I'm sorry, that was terrible. That was a terrible joke. But I got TakeOver Blackpool 2 playing in the background. And we are here set for another loaded show. You guys are going to want to stick around till the end. I got a packed edition of the LFU. A few announcements. Follow me on Twitter at PatronizersDJS. Also, follow me on Instagram at TheDJStorms. Both links are in the description. If you missed the rewind for NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2, the link is also in the description. And if you missed the Lightning Flash update from last week, in which I did a heated rant on Becky Lynch crying out sexism and saying that everyone in the universe, implying that everyone in the WWE universe is a sexist pig, and everyone in the WWE universe is against her and the women main eventing shows because she had a subpar main event. No, Becky, it's because the build, booking, and production of the women's division is terrible. That's Vince McMahon's fault. No one ever said it was your fault. That link is also in the description. I also have some collaborations coming next week. The rundown for the Royal Rumble 2020, that will be up on Thursday. On Friday is the rundown for Worlds Collide, in which I'm going to attempt to get Sid the Nardy Mark and John Kearns and Timothy Farley from Armbar Audio on. And then next Saturday, of course, is the Lightning Flash update for January 25th, 2020. And then, of course, on the 23rd, I do start college. I will keep you guys updated on how the uploading schedule may or may not change as far as college goes. It's going to be yet another packed semester. But then again, what are you going to do? You know, shame on me for signing up for accounting. But nevertheless, I got my signature cup with the ice water in it. Got to keep hydrated. 2 hours every week for the Lightning Flash update. I got 7 shows to review. So, why don't we get into the weekly show reviews portion of the Lightning Flash update. Monday Night Raw. I don't want to say it was a bad show, because we did have some decent material on it. We did have a couple decent matches here and there. We had a fantastic ending, but underneath it all, it's just the same stereotypical main roster programming that we're so accustomed to. It just lacks energy. It's just uninteresting and unexciting. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not saying it was a terrible show. Trust me, I know what a terrible show is. I have been watching Monday Night Raw since 2008. I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs, I've seen the great periods, I've seen the shit periods. We're currently in a shit period. I'm not saying it was a terrible show. I'm not saying it was unwatchable. I know what an unwatchable show is, but it was just unexciting. It was really just unexciting. If you rate this Monday Night Raw anywhere above a 4, you are really stretching it. You're really stretching it. It started off in a fairly decent way. Randy Orton kicked off the show telling AJ Styles to get his ass out here. Styles came out. Styles said, out of the goodness of his heart, he thought Orton was really hurt. Styles said that everyone was talking about the RKO that he delivered last week. Some would say his RKO was phenomenal. Maybe that's all he needs to throw everyone over the top rope, including Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and then out comes Drew McIntyre. He interrupted Styles mid-sentence. Drew said that they're having an RKO measuring contest, and then he said his Claymore is better, or bigger rather. He says he's looking for bigger and better opponents. Drew says that everyone would rather them shut up and have a triple threat match. So we got a triple threat match. The OC got involved within 30 seconds of this. Carl Anderson caught an RKO. Meanwhile, Luke Gallows caught a Claymore. Now, this was decent. Nothing too special. This went about 12 minutes. This was a fairly decent triple threat match. We had Randy Orton countering the Claymore with a drop kick, and then Orton took out McIntyre on the outside with the steel steps. We had Randy and Styles go back and forth. Styles went for the RKO. Orton caught him with a kick to the gut, and Randy Orton delivered a Styles Clash. Yes, Randy Orton, you heard that correctly, delivered a Styles Clash. Who knew that Randy Orton could deliver a pretty decent Styles Clash? So, props to Orton right there. Styles actually kicked out. Everyone thought he was gonna beat Styles with the Styles Clash, but Styles kicked out. Styles rolled up Randy Orton. Orton kicked out, caught him on the rebound with an RKO. Drew McIntyre out of nowhere came in and jumped over AJ, hit Randy Orton with the Claymore, pinned AJ Styles, and Drew McIntyre wins. Decent triple threat, right winner here. And Drew McIntyre continues his momentum, but again, I will state, if Drew McIntyre doesn't win the Royal Rumble, all of the momentum that he built up over the course of the last few months will be for absolutely nothing. And if he's not going to win the Royal Rumble, at least have him eliminate Lesnar to start that storyline. Drew McIntyre is way too good to just be floating around doing nothing. He has got the most momentum that he's ever got, ever since he got up to the main roster. And right now, they can't let it slip through their fingers. Drew McIntyre either needs to win the Rumble or he needs to eliminate Lesnar. But more than likely, he's not going to do that. And once again, WWE will have failed to capitalize on Drew McIntyre. Rollins was backstage motivating AOP. Rollins said that no one can stop him. Says this is the destiny of Raw. And he says that they'll do whatever they need to do. And they'll see what happens. They, meaning Joe, Owens, and The Big Show. They will see what happens when you don't embrace the vision of the Monday Night Messiah. I'm going to be honest. Rollins' new heel character, this Monday Night Messiah character, is actually really helping his promos. So I got to give him credit there. Rollins is actually possibly turning into the best thing on main roster television right now, outside of Otis and Mandy Rose. Especially after what happened on SmackDown with Otis and Mandy Rose, which we will talk about once we get to the SmackDown portion of the weekly show reviews. Mojo Rawley versus Ricochet. Standard Ricochet match here. Think about this for a minute. What are we on? We're on January 18th, 2020. We are almost 1 year to the day when Ricochet had that classic North American Championship match with Johnny Gargano at TakeOver Phoenix. And here I am 1 year later calling a Ricochet match standard. Go show you how much WWE has ruined Ricochet. Recoil 630 senton, Ricochet wins. Ricochet has momentum now. Let's keep that going. Do not stop it. Now, where does Ricochet factor into WrestleMania? I don't see Ricochet factoring into any championship matches at WrestleMania. I don't see Seth Rollins factoring into any championship matches at WrestleMania. If WWE wants a strong undercard match to kick off the main show at WrestleMania 36 at 7 p.m., I would put Ricochet and Rollins out there for 15 to 20 minutes. You have Rollins with this new Monday Night Messiah gimmick, and you want Ricochet to get back to that underdog babyface level that we know he can be at. We want Ricochet to get to that main event level. We want to see Ricochet competing for world championships. Why not put him against Rollins at WrestleMania? Ricochet and Rollins are in the Royal Rumble. You can have Ricochet eliminate Seth Rollins, start planting the seeds there. Rollins, over the course of the next few weeks, could target Ricochet saying, you interfered with my vision. You interfered with my vision of winning the Rumble, again, facing Lesnar and taking the WWE title and making Monday Night Raw a better place. Now you have to pay the price. Simple storytelling right there. Will they do that? Probably not. Street Profits are in the back. Montez Ford hyping up the rest of the show. Same bullshit that we've seen from the Street Profits since they got called up to the main roster to be unofficial hype men back in June. Meanwhile, they should be acknowledging the fact that they were never pinned in the Raw Tag Team title match last week, and we should be getting the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders at the Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair versus Sarah Logan. This went 3 minutes. Sarah Logan, she has a great look. She really does have a great look, and I would love to see Sarah Logan get more opportunities, but does the WWE really expect us to care about Sarah Logan after they just buried her? Not once, but twice. 2 weeks in a row. We had a 10-minute brawl last week where she got the jump on Charlotte, and Charlotte still stood tall, and now this week, she loses in 3 minutes to Charlotte. Figure 8, Sarah Logan taps out to Charlotte Flair. Complete waste of time. Big Show, Samoa Joe, and Kevin Owens were in the back. And the Big Show says it's time to introduce or reintroduce this, and he pointed to his huge right hand. It's time to reintroduce this to Seth Rollins. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman came out to address the crowd. Heyman said, y'all need to show a little appreciation for the champion. So right then and there, I was laughing my ass off. I love Paul Heyman. I can't get enough of Paul Heyman. They started to leave the ring after the crowd chants, "You suck." They got back into the ring, and Lesnar just held up the title over his head, showcasing it to everyone in Hicktown. I'm sorry, I mean Kentucky. If they were even in Kentucky. I don't even keep track of where they are nowadays. Heyman says that there's a streak going on with his spoilers about Lesnar coming to life. R-Truth then interrupted Heyman. Truth said his childhood hero, John Cena, taught him to never give up. And I would like to make mention that there has been a few content creators in the community throwing the idea around that Cena could very well be the one to win the Rumble or eliminate Lesnar, and he could be the one to win his 17th world title from Lesnar at WrestleMania. I don't really know how I feel about that. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing but respect for John Cena, and I respect everything that he's done for the business, but at the end of the day, does Cena really need to win his 17th world championship? Do we really need to see that? No, we really don't. And on top of that, realistically speaking, he would be taking away an opportunity from someone like a Kevin Owens or a Drew McIntyre or a Matt Riddle. He would be taking an opportunity away from WWE in general as well. WWE would be taking away an opportunity from one of those guys to build a new star. Why not put Drew McIntyre out there against Brock Lesnar? Why not have Drew McIntyre take Lesnar to a 15-20 minute brawl and have Drew McIntyre walk out victorious? Why do we need to get this? Yes, it would be a cool moment, but ultimately it would be a waste of a spot, and you'd be sacrificing John Cena, and you would be sacrificing Brock Lesnar in a main event spot, or a main event caliber match, and it would ultimately end up in nothing more than a cool moment. Realistically, it's a waste of time. I don't really know how I feel about that. I'm indifferent to that. But Truth continued on, saying that he is entering himself into the Royal Rumble, and he calls out Paul Heyman. Heyman said that he's not in the Rumble. So Truth then undeclares himself from the Rumble. He says that Heyman talks a lot. You go on and on and on, and you give away all the spoilers. So Brock Lesnar's laughing his ass off. Truth goes, he does not want Brock to take him to Sioux Falls City. And I'm laughing my ass off. Heyman's getting pissed, and Heyman's going, it's Suplex City. Suplex City. Why are you even out here? Nobody likes you. So Lesnar's like bending over laughing, and Truth then takes the microphone. He steps up to Brock, says, what's up? He starts dancing. Lesnar clotheslines him, hits the F5 to Truth, takes the microphone and goes, that's what's up. This is hilarious. I mean, I love comedy and wrestling when it's done right. This was comedy done right. R-Truth is fantastic. Now, I could do without the 48/7, 7-Eleven, 24/7, VII-97 European Television Championship, but nevertheless, R-Truth is great. And Lesnar and Heyman made this segment that much better along with R-Truth. R-Truth got a lot of laughs out of me. So then we had Mojo Rawley winning the 24/7 title after we came back from commercial. Mojo Rawley's 24/7 champion. Who cares? Bobby Lashley versus Rusev. Look, I'm not saying that these guys can't wrestle. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that this was necessarily a bad match, but I just could not give a single shit about anything that these guys are doing. This storyline's been going on for almost 4 months. And, it pains me to say that I don't care about it because I am a fan of Rusev and I want to see Rusev succeed. I know the talent that Rusev possesses. A year ago, he was putting on classics with Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. And now here he is in this storyline with Liv, Lashley, and Lana. I'm not saying the match was bad. I'm not saying that it was entirely shit, but this storyline, I swear to God, I'm getting a headache just talking about the storyline. This storyline cannot end sooner. It really can't. We had Lashley taking over control before we went to first commercial break with a spear to Rusev on the outside. Rusev was able to come back. Big fall-away slam. Machka kick. He went for the accolade, but Lana got involved, caused a distraction. Liv Morgan came out. Lana threw a drink at Liv Morgan and then threw her into the barricade. Lashley hit the spear and defeated Rusev. Then we went to the back and we had a promo with Lana challenging Liv and Rusev to a mixed tag team match next week. So if you wanted any more reason not to watch Monday Night Raw next week, now you have your reason. Viking Raiders issue an open challenge. The Singh brothers answer. This went 2 minutes. Viking Raiders defeated the Singh brothers. Who cares? Moving on to the next segment. Liv and Rusev were in the backstage area, and they accepted Lana's challenge. Rusev says, "When you come at me, I'm going to break you." Something along the lines of that. I don't even fucking remember. I take like fucking 10 pages of notes every single week. I just take the gist of things. I don't even mind taking the details. Liv says that she is the living embodiment of Lana's karma. She says that karma is not only a goddess, she's an honest-to-God bitch. Becky and Asuka signed the contract for the Rumble. Becky basically motioned for Kairi Sane to get out of the ring. Both women signed the contract. Asuka then sprayed Becky in the face. She spat the green mist in Becky's face. Asuka and Kairi Sane walked to the back. Becky was attended to by the doctors. She was telling the doctors to give her the damn microphone. Becky then cut a very good promo. The contract signing was stereotypical lame and very anticlimactic, but Becky's promo was damn good. We had Becky saying that there's this fire that burns deep inside me. Asuka has seemingly found a trick every single time she faces Becky. Becky says that she doesn't care if she's going down. She doesn't care if this is her last stand. She is taking Asuka down with her. This was damn good. I can't wait to see Becky and Asuka at the Rumble. Perhaps one of the only matches that I actually give a shit about going into the Rumble. Next week, we get Rey and Andrade in a ladder match for the United States Championship. I have no problem with a ladder match because we get a great match. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be an excellent match. But why are we getting this match after Rey Mysterio lost clean? I would much rather see Andrade and Humberto go at it for the U.S. title because Humberto actually has momentum. He beat Andrade twice and he beat Ricochet in the gauntlet match. So I would love to know where Humberto has been, and I would like to know why we aren't getting Andrade and Humberto for the U.S. title in a program during WrestleMania season. Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. This was very good. These two brought the fight and the brutality of this matchup. Let me tell you something. Some of the moves that were being delivered in this match looked scary. Buddy Murphy drop-kicked Aleister Black's head into the LED post, and I swear to God, I thought Aleister Black was knocked out right then and there. And then he suplexed Aleister Black off of the ring apron into the barricade. Coming back from commercial, we had Aleister Black hitting a double stomp, and then a jumping knee to Buddy Murphy in the timekeeper's area, which actually sent Aleister Black into the crowd. And I swear to God, this knee, Buddy Murphy, I am surprised he continued this matchup. After a knee like that, I could have sworn he had a fucking concussion. Looked brutal. We had a nice exchange by Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black in the ring, which led Murphy to hit Murphy's Law, but Aleister Black got his foot on the rope. Aleister Black ended up hitting a Black Mass, but the referee said that Murphy just got his shoulder up slightly, which I didn't see at all. I don't even know what the fuck this referee was on, but regardless, that was a major botch by the referee, and the ref needs to be fucking punished for that. Aleister Black ended up hitting a second Black Mass, and he defeated Buddy Murphy. Very good match. And Aleister Black continues his momentum going into the Royal Rumble. Murphy then stayed on the floor. He stayed on the floor, and that actually factored into what happened in the main event. Brock Lesnar is going to be live next week. Again, it's got to be a record for Brock Lesnar appearing on 3 Monday Night Raws in a row. Eric Rowan then defeated a jobber. This was stereotypical Eric Rowan shit, and whatever was in the cage actually bit him, and his hand was covered in what looked to be blood, so apparently maybe it is an animal in there. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there isn't a legit animal in there. I don't know what it could be, but regardless, I have a feeling we're close to finding out. And Buddy Murphy was still on the outside. He was pressed up against the barricade, just distraught. Now we had the fist fight between Rollins and AOP, and I gotta give WWE credit here. They did an excellent job with the production of this fist fight. We had Rollins and AOP attack the Big Show early. Owens and Joe came running out with kendo sticks. Owens then ran up the stage, ran up the skateboard Raw stage like Sonic the Hedgehog, and did a freaking cannonball taking out the AOP. Samoa Joe then put Rezar through a table with a running senton, not the announce table, there was another table with a black cloth on the outside. Rollins was at the mercy of Big Show, and Rollins actually went over to Buddy, and he's tapping Buddy, he's shaking Buddy, he's saying, "Help us, Buddy. Help us, Buddy." Big Show was about to knock out Seth Rollins, but Buddy Murphy actually came in and helped him. A low blow to the Big Show. They put Big Show through a table. The AOP did a powerbomb to Owens onto Samoa Joe through the announce table. Rollins hit the stomp. Rollins and AOP win, and Buddy Murphy joins forces with Seth Rollins and AOP. Rollins held out his hands and embraced Buddy Murphy. This was an excellent ending. Rollins' heel character, Rollins single-handedly went from the worst thing on WWE programming to the best thing on main roster programming. And on top of that, Buddy Murphy, with this newfound purpose, just gives him a new lease on life, so to speak, in the eyes of the fans. Buddy Murphy was distraught. Buddy Murphy's obsession with Aleister Black could not lead him to a victory. He didn't know where to go. He was lost. In comes Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, and Rollins gives Buddy Murphy a purpose. And I love the visual of all of them standing side by side. They look like a legit faction that could take over the show. So much so that I would not mind if we had all four of these men as champions in the summer. Rollins as world champion, Buddy as U.S. champion, and AOP as tag team champions. This was an excellent ending, and this stable looks great. This looks like this could be a legit fucking stable that could really generate some intrigue on Monday Night Raw. And in WWE in general, on the main roster. Because right now, the WWE main roster programming is the least interesting thing in the wrestling world right now. Whether you want to admit it or not. So again, it wasn't a bad episode of Raw, but it just overall felt lackluster. Outside of Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black, outside of a decent triple threat, outside of the ending, and then we had Becky's promo, it was just the same shit. AEW Dark. This was decent. It continued storylines. It wasn't really anything too special. We got some decent matches. We got some storyline continuation in the women's division. We had AEW paying tribute to the legends of Memphis Wrestling, and you can really tell that this company is run by people that love and respect the sport of pro wrestling. They had all of these Memphis legends in the ring, and then they paid tribute to the ones who have already deceased. They listed off their accomplishments. The crowd was very respectful. I just love the overall presentation. They did a very good job. Again, you can tell that the company is run by people that love and respect the sport. Darby Allin versus Brandon Cutler. This was a decent match. This went about 10 minutes. This was nothing too special here, but it was decent for what it was. Very technical start to this match. Darby Allin was actually working on Brandon Cutler's arm. Darby Allin was working on a lot of submission holds before he got into the nitty-gritty material. We had Darby Allin hit the Yoshi Tonic for the close 2 count. Brandon Cutler fired back with a torture rack, but Darby Allin was able to get out of that. Darby Allin was on the receiving end of a slingshot guillotine leg drop over the ropes, and Darby Allin actually crashed pretty hard on the apron. Darby Allin dodged a springboard from Brandon Cutler, hit the over-the-top stunner, the coffin drop, and Darby Allin defeats Brandon Cutler. Decent match, right winner here, and Darby Allin is really making a strong case of why he should be considered the first AEW mid-card champion. I know I've been saying Shawn Spears, but with the momentum that Darby Allin has and the fan support that Darby Allin has, they would be foolish not to give Darby Allin the mid-card championship. Right now, it's a three-way race between Sammy Guevara, Shawn Spears, and Darby Allin. And I think Darby Allin could very well end up taking that top spot as the mid-card champion. Shauna versus Nyla Rose was supposed to happen, but it never did. Shauna actually attacked Nyla Rose before the match. She caught Nyla Rose with a heel kick. Nyla Rose countered with a spine buster on the outside. Shauna was then about to get powerbombed through a table by Nyla Rose. Shauna reversed it, and she hit a Big E-like spear through the ropes, through the table to Nyla Rose, and then the brawl actually continued in the back. They're actually doing better shit with the women on AEW Dark than they are on Dynamite. Why aren't we seeing this on AEW Dark? This is the shit that we need to see. And you know something? They actually had Nyla Rose and Shauna in a tables match on AEW Dark on the tapings for the Bash at the Beach episodes. And you know something? I can't wait to see this match. You put these two out there, and they're going to give you a decent tables match. This is what we need to see in the women's division. This is what I'm talking about. Storyline continuation. We got two up-and-coming women's wrestlers that could actually give you guys something to invest your time in. We should be getting this on Dynamite. Not this fucking Nightmare Collective bullshit, which I will rant on. The Gun Club versus Peter Avalon and Shawn Spears. This was another decent match. Nothing too special here. This was mainly a showcase match for Billy Gunn and his son Austin. I definitely want to see more of Austin Gunn. He has signed with AEW. I'm interested to see what he brings to the table. We had Shawn Spears and Peter Avalon working on Austin Gunn towards the midway portion of this match until Billy Gunn got the hot tag. He lit up Avalon and Spears with a few right hands. We had Billy Gunn hit a power slam on Shawn Spears, I believe it was, and then a modified back suplex powerbomb on Peter Avalon. Austin Gunn made the tag, hit the Famouser on Peter Avalon, but Peter Avalon kicked out. Shawn Spears was taken out for the moment. Billy Gunn hit a modified sleeper slam, and then Austin Gunn hit a senton from the top for the 1, 2, 3. The Gun Club are now 2-0 in AEW. Decent tag team match, nothing special. Overall, decent episode of Dark. We've definitely seen better, but it got the point across. It got some people wins. It continued the storylines. That's all I can really ask for. If you wanted to skip it, I wouldn't have blamed you. Again, it was really nothing special, but regardless, it was still entertaining for what it was. AEW Dynamite this week. Dynamite with a fantastic show, much better than last week's show. Last week's show wasn't necessarily horrible or mediocre, but it was not up to par with what we're used to seeing. But this Bash at the Beach episode of AEW Dynamite, everyone brought it, outside of that women's match, which I will go over. The show started off with a fantastic Fatal 4-Way tag team match between Hangman and Omega. We had Proud and Powerful, the Best Friends, and the Young Bucks. Everyone brought their A-game, and this went about 14 minutes. We had everyone just flying everywhere. We had Hangman with a beautiful moonsault to the outside. We had Matt Jackson and Santana taking out the pile. We actually had Trent suplex Matt Jackson off the top rope onto the pile. We had a spot where all 8 men were going for a suplex, like an 8-man suplex altogether. They were all connected to one another. Orange Cassidy came in there, and Orange Cassidy actually got involved. He suplexed himself and then kipped up to his feet with his hands in his pockets. You gotta love Orange Cassidy. We had the Young Bucks and Hangman getting into a few conversations in the match. A little dissension there between the Elite. Hangman and Omega ended up winning this with the Buckshot V-Trigger combination, And Hangman and Omega are advancing to the Bash at the Beach episode on the Jericho Cruise next week to face off against SCU for the tag team titles. Fantastic match, and I actually love this decision. I was actually going with Proud and Powerful because I thought that this match was taking place at Revolution, but if this is the case, this is huge. This is huge because this opens up the door for SCU to retain. Hangman and Omega are now going to slowly start descending. Hangman is finally going to turn heel here. There's no better time to do it here. SCU, they're not losing the tag team titles. SCU is losing the tag team titles to Proud and Powerful at Revolution. And Proud and Powerful were not pinned here. So they still have momentum going for them. Hangman and Omega win here. Great storytelling right here. This plays into the heel turn perfectly. And again, you can still see the frustrations, the body language, the mannerisms on Adam Hangman Page. He's so frustrated that he's been able to get wins here and there, but he's never been able to win the big one. Now he's in a big match situation again, and when he doesn't win, he's finally going to snap on Kenny Omega, turn heel, and we're going to get the matchup at Revolution. I can't wait to see what goes down next week. Cody comes out, and he came out to respond to MJF's stipulations. Cody says that maybe MJF is afraid that Wardlow will shine brighter than him. Cody says that MJF is trying to get inside Cody's head. Meanwhile, Cody lives rent-free in MJF's head. Cody says that MJF lives off the old school wrestlers praising him about how he's an old school heel and how less is more. Cody says, you're just lazy, MJF. You're just flat out lazy. Less is more because less is all you can do. And Cody ended up accepting the stipulations and promised to give MJF his own damn scar at Revolution. Excellent promo by Cody. And let me tell you something. The matchup at Revolution, I said it once and I'm going to say it again, it is going to make MJF an even bigger star than he already is. And I'm actually going to go with the bold prediction here. I am going to go with MJF to win, but that's not going to be the end of the feud. I'm going with MJF to win, and then we're going to build towards a blow-off match at at Double or Nothing 2 in May. If Cody wins, he can challenge for the world title again. If MJF wins, Cody must retire as a pro wrestler. So we're going to make MJF into a star, and we're going to finally get Cody back into the world title hunt, because you know that Cody's not going to never challenge for the world title again. He can't. Besides, Cody never submitted. Cody was never technically beaten. MJF threw in the towel. So it was not Cody's decision that caused him to lose. It was MJF's decision. Think about that for a minute. Excellent promo nonetheless. And we do have the steel cage match between Wardlow and Cody set for the February 19th episode of Dynamite, which is taking place in Atlanta, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Joey Janela was in the back. He called out Penelope Ford for using his name to make a name for herself. Janela dares Kip Sabian to cross the line in the sand that he drew. And I like the fact that he acknowledged that 2019 was not a very good year for him, but next week he has Rey Fenix. I can't wait to see this. Joey Janela, he's legit as ever. Rey Fenix is a wrestling genius in his own right. I can't wait to see the matchup next week between Janela and Fenix. Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander versus the Nightmare Collective. Awesome Kong was out with injury, so Brandy Rhodes took her place. This was not very good at all. Look, I'm sorry. I don't know what anyone sees in the Nightmare Collective, but Mel was out of position twice in this match. She was out of position twice in this match. Brandy Rhodes and her offense, it's just so weak. The best thing that she did here was a spear. We had Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida. They hit a superplex to Mel, followed up by a running punt kick. Mel kicked out. We had a running Shining Wizard to the back of the neck by Shida, and Mel still kicked out. Brandy Rhodes hit the spear, and Chris Statlander ended up kicking out. Chris Statlander and Shida neutralized Brandy, and Chris Statlander then hit the Big Bang Theory on Mel for the 1, 2, 3. Thank God Statlander and Shida won this match. Realistically, these two women are two of the best, if not the two best women that they got on the AEW women's roster right now, and they should be the ones that they should be building the division around. You know, I actually have to acknowledge this for one second. I need to say something on this issue. I understand if people are fans of AEW, but trying to act as if something is good when it's really not, like this Nightmare Collective shit, what redeeming qualities about the Nightmare Collective is there? They're not good in the ring, they're not entertaining, they're not charismatic, they're not doing anything whatsoever. What's even the purpose behind them? No, it's not developing good storylines in the women's division either. The women's division is a weak point right now, and the Nightmare Collective, they need to go. I understand if people are fans of AEW, but trying to make everything sound like it's the greatest thing ever, I mean, I don't even know what you're doing. And there's this one person on social media, and I wasn't really going to say anything, but I have to. Phoenix NJPW. At Phoenix NJPW. She's an AEW fan, and sometimes she watches WWE. Like, she's just a wrestling fan in general, but I don't think I have seen tweets more nauseating than hers. And what I mean by that is the fact that she is just so overly positive to a point where it's just annoying as fuck. It really is. And listen, don't try and misconstrue what I'm saying. I have heard a lot of great things about her. I have heard that she is a wonderful woman. I've heard that she has a heart of gold, and I admire that. I really admire that, because we need more people like that in the world, but I don't even know what her malfunction is. She was actually trying to defend the Nightmare Collective, trying to say that, oh, patience is a gift. Mel did great. No, she didn't. She was out of position twice with the moonsault with Statlander and on the dropkick. She made Statlander and Sheeta look bad. Brandy Rhodes, oh, she did great for not having too much in-ring experience. No, she didn't. Her offense is weak as shit. Her offense is terrible. The Nightmare Collective is one of the worst things about AEW right now. The Nightmare Collective is undoubtedly on the levels of Bayley, This Is Your Life bad. Listen, I understand, and Phoenix, if you're watching this, she's probably not watching this, but regardless, I understand if you're a fan of AEW, but stop trying to act like everything is sunshine and rainbows. Stop trying to watch things through the eyes of kayfabe. Stop trying to lower your expectations and standards just because you're a fan of something. It makes you look like a fucking nitwit. It makes you look like a dork. See, you are embarrassing yourself. Just because you're a fan of something doesn't mean you get to switch your brain off. Keep your brain on. Please. I don't hate her personally whatsoever. I got nothing against her personally, but she comes off like a fucking moron when it comes to pro wrestling. She really does. Her overly positive tweets, I can't deal with this shit. I really can't deal with it. See how many people get their fucking panties in a bunch over that, over me shitting on Phoenix and JPW. I shit on everyone. It's a matter of brand business. Matter of fact, you people should consider it an honor if I shit on you. Moving on. Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara. This only went 9 minutes, but damn, was it good. This only went 9 minutes, but both men looked like legit stars, and I loved the little mini tournament idea that they put on the two main singles matches of the show. Sammy Guevara came out of the gates hot with a beautiful springboard cutter, a Fosby flop, and a double stomp on the apron to Moxley, which looked brutal. Coming back from commercial, Moxley hit a superplex, and then the headlock driver, which Sammy sold the shit out of. It looked like he broke his neck. Sammy Guevara ended up coming back with a beautiful Spanish fly, and then a modified torture rack into a knee strike combination. Kind of looked like what Dominik Dijakovic does with Feast Your Eyes, but Moxley kicked out. Moxley ended up winning this with the rear naked choke. Sammy Guevara did a moonsault, but Moxley caught him in the rear naked choke. Sammy taps out immediately. Very good match. The Inner Circle then attacked Jon Moxley. Jericho took a spike from his jacket and jabbed Moxley in his right eye. And the Inner Circle got their revenge on Jon Moxley for what Jon Moxley did last week. Afterwards, in the back, Jericho cut a promo saying that what happened was all on Moxley. And he says that he's going to swab the deck with Jungle Boy's rat nest hair, because the Jurassic Express are facing Proud and Powerful and Jericho next week on the Jericho Cruise. And he said that Moxley will see him around even though you can't really see us. Gotta love Jericho. MJF, The Butcher and the Blade versus DDP, QT Marshall, and Dustin Rhodes. This was a very fun six-man tag. They did a lot of material in this match, which definitely got MJF, The Butcher, and the Blade over as heels. MJF actually came out with a shirt. I don't even know where he comes up with this shit. I don't even know how he comes up with this shit, but I have nothing when it comes to MJF. I just sit back and I just wait. Any single time MJF appears on Dynamite, you know that it's bound to be the best part of the show. He came out with a shirt that said, "I banged Dallas's daughter." I have nothing. I really have nothing. He actually did some pretty innovative heel tactics here. He hit Dustin Rhodes with a right hand when Dustin Rhodes was in his corner, and then he put his hand behind his back, and you could see the Dynamite diamond ring on his finger, and Wardlow took it off of his finger as his hand was behind his back. I can appreciate the innovative heel tactics there from MJF. DDP got the hot tag. He lit up The Butcher and MJF with a few clotheslines. We had a diamond cutter on The Butcher. He went for a diamond cutter on MJF, but MJF hit a low blow behind the ref's back. Dustin Rhodes tagged in and hit a Canadian Destroyer. So for the third week in a row, Dustin Rhodes pulls off a Canadian Destroyer. I don't know what supplements Dustin Rhodes is on. I don't know where he found the Fountain of Youth, but please guide me to him. Dustin Rhodes took out The Butcher and the Blade with a Cannonball Senton on the apron. QT Marshall came in with the cartwheel springboard plancha over the top rope, and then DDP, at 65 years old, did a huge crossbody taking out everyone. QT Marshall was the legal man. MJF rolled up QT Marshall for the 1, 2, 3. Very fun six-man tag. Right winners here. And DDP, just like I said, he was there to get MJF over as a heel, and that's exactly what he did. Can't really complain about that. Pac versus Darby Allin. This went about 12 minutes, but Jesus, was it brutal. And I mean, it was brutal. Some of the moves that they were delivering in this match looked like that they could have seriously injured him. Literally, 2 minutes into this match, Darby Allin did 2 suicide dives, and he has no regard for his physical well-being. Those suicide dives take about as much out of Darby Allin as they do Pac. He doesn't even put his feet down. He literally just crashes down, abdomen first, on the floor after he hits the suicide dive. Pac actually powerbombed Darby Allin on the steel steps, and he didn't take off the top steel steps. He powerbombed Darby Allin on the top portion of the steel steps to a point where Darby Allin had cuts and bruises on his back, and he was bleeding. Looked brutal. Darby Allin ended up coming back with a Yoshi Tonic for a 2 count, and then we had Darby Allin hitting a coffin drop to a standing Pac on the outside. Back into the ring, Darby Allin went for a springboard coffin drop to a standing Pac, and Pac hit him with the snap German, then hit a sit-out powerbomb. Darby Allin was dropped right on his neck. I am surprised his neck wasn't broken. Darby Allin just barely kicked out. Then we had Pac hitting the Black Arrow for the 1, 2, 3. Great main event. Pac was then interviewed by Tony Schiavone. He says that he should automatically be the number 1 contender because Moxley is physically incapacitated. Then we cut to the back, and Moxley actually came out of an ambulance wearing an eye patch, like an eye patch over his right eye, and then bandages around his face. Looked like the pirate from SpongeBob SquarePants, Aye Aye Captain. He said that he doesn't care if he's blind, he doesn't care if he's got one eye, no eyes, or if he's half dead. The title shot will be his. So we got Moxley and Pac next week to see who will face Jericho at Revolution. Fantastic episode of Dynamite outside of the women's match. Definitely looking forward to what they have in store for the coming weeks. And we got Revolution on the horizon. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. NXT was also a fantastic show. The matches that they had on NXT this week, they brought their A-game. NXT, they have been doing some great shit. We got Worlds Collide coming up. We got NXT TakeOver Portland, which is looking like the takeover of the year. We got a lot of great material on NXT this week. Keith Lee kicked off the show. Keith Lee, he gave props to the Undisputed Era for holding all the gold. And he said that they had a great 2019, perhaps the best 2019 of anyone in the WWE. But Lee said that the Undisputed Era have reached their limits while he is limitless. Keith Lee was then on the receiving end of a beatdown by the Undisputed Era, and Strong actually stomped a chair that was wedged onto Keith Lee's ankle. He stomped on a chair that was wedged onto Keith Lee's ankle, and Tommaso Ciampa actually came out to prevent the Undisputed Era from doing any more damage. We got Lee and Strong next week for the North American title, and that could be a potential way on how they have Strong retain and then book the rematch at TakeOver Portland, because I question why they're having this matchup on a random episode of NXT when realistically Keith Lee should be the one to take the title off of Roderick Strong, but if he is to do it, it should happen at a TakeOver. I actually think that Roderick Strong could very well retain. We could very well have a screwy finish, and we could get Keith Lee and Roderick Strong in a rematch at TakeOver Portland, and that is when Keith Lee is going to win the North American Championship. If he doesn't win the North American Championship between now and TakeOver Tampa, he's main roster bound. The Broserweights versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan and Webster. This was the first round matchup in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. This was the third first round matchup. I am telling you right here, I don't throw this term around often, but this was a damn near perfect tag team match. It was on the brink of being a damn near perfect tag team match. This was damn near on the level of Ricochet and Aleister Black versus the War Raiders at TakeOver New York. This was damn near on the level of Gallus versus Grizzled Young Veterans versus Webster and Andrews at TakeOver Cardiff. Damn near perfect. If you did not watch this match, I would highly recommend you guys go and watch this match. Mark Andrews came in like a house of fire with a springboard Hurricane Rana to Pete Dunne. We had him doing a roll-through on Pete Dunne. He was going for Stomp 182, but he used the momentum to propel himself into a tornado DDT on Riddle. Webster and Andrews hit a double planches to the outside. Back in the ring, we had the Broserweights do an X-Plex into a powerbomb. Then we had a final flash knee strike and roundhouse kick combination. They took out Mark Andrews there. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews nearly got the roll-up pin on the Broserweights, but Pete Dunne hit a forearm strike on Mark Andrews that sent Mark Andrews into Webster to break up the pin. Webster dove to the outside. He was caught in a Bro Derek on the outside by Matt Riddle. Looked brutal. Then we had Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne hitting a bitter end Bro to Sleep combination, and the Broserweights advance in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Damn near perfect tag team match. I'm going with the Broserweights in the finals, as well as the Grizzled Young Veterans, and I will talk about the Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Time Splitters later on in the NXT review portion. Tommaso Ciampa came out to address the WWE Universe. He says that the Undisputed Era has a hit list. So does he, and Adam Cole is on his hit list. Ciampa says that he is going to take his life back before the Undisputed Era came out to start attacking Tommaso Ciampa. Gargano came out to make the save. DIY ended up standing tall. And Mustache Mountain, I think Trent Seven from Mustache Mountain actually tweeted later on in the show that he would like to challenge DIY to a matchup at Worlds Collide. Incoming 5-star classic. Incoming 5-star classic. Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Time Splitters. This was very good. This wasn't as good as the Broserweights versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster, but this was still very good. This was my first time getting a look at Alex Shelley, and I'm very impressed with Alex Shelley. I really am. We had some quick tags by the Time Splitters, quick offense, quick strikes, double suplex on Gibson before we went to a commercial break. Grizzled Young Veterans, they were in control until Alex Shelley got the tag. We had a double team maneuver by Alex Shelley and Kushida. Kushida hit the moonsault on the legs of James Drake, while Kushida's partner, Alex Shelley, hit a huge splash from the top. 2 count there. Kushida was sent to the outside, and the Grizzled Young Veterans hit Ticket to Mayhem to advance in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Alex Shelley's not signed to NXT, so I expected the Grizzled Young Veterans to win. Even if Alex Shelley was signed to NXT, I was expecting the Grizzled Young Veterans to win, because right now, the Grizzled Young Veterans, let me tell you something. They should be considered, right now, they should be considered in the conversation for best tag team in the world. When you talk about best tag team in the world, it's very, very stereotypical. It's very common to say the Young Bucks or the Usos or the Revival or the Lucha Bros or the Undisputed Era. It's very common. But the Grizzled Young Veterans, they're making a strong case of why they should be in the conversation. Gibson actually took the microphone. He said that they conquered all of Europe and they will not stop. They will soon be recognized as 2020 Dusty Classic winners. And I'm going with the Grizzled Young Veterans and the Broserweights in the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic at Worlds Collide. Robert Stone and Chelsea Green were in the back, and Robert Stone, coming off very slick in his suit with his glasses and his long slicked up hair, says that he pulled Chelsea Green from the Rumble, says that you'll all have to wait to see the hottest free agent. I like what they're doing. I like the cockiness and the confidence that Robert Stone and Chelsea Green are possessing. They're living the high life. They're living the high life as I want to say the prim and proper high class wrestlers, quote unquote, of NXT. Chelsea Green, I can't wait to see what Chelsea Green can do, and I do actually enjoy the pairing. I think it's cool that Chelsea Green has a male manager and Robert Stone. Robert Stone actually comes off very professional, and I think that this could really pay dividends for Chelsea Green in 2020. Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Lio Rush versus Tyler Breeze. It was confirmed that Angel Garza will be defending the NXT Cruiserweight Championship in a Fatal 4-Way match at Worlds Collide between Isaiah Swerve Scott. He actually won this match, so it's 2 NXT superstars and then 2 NXT UK superstars, which I will talk about later on when we get to the NXT UK portion of the review. This was a very good triple threat match. I am loving that they're using Tyler Breeze in the Cruiserweight division while Fandango is out. I think that could definitely benefit Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze did great in this match. I loved the chemistry that all 3 men had to offer. We had a German suplex on Isaiah Swerve Scott while Isaiah Swerve Scott suplexed Lio Rush from the apron into the ring. We had a crazy sequence by Lio Rush where Lio Rush hit a reverse Rana on Scott. Suicide dive to the outside. Final hour on Isaiah Swerve Scott, all in one motion, and Scott was able to kick out. Back in the ring, Tyler Breeze caught Lio Rush with a huge super kick with his head trapped between the buckle. I believe he hit the beauty shot, but he was not able to get the cover as Swerve hit the house call kick. Beautiful house call kick. And then he hit the JML driver, which is like a half Nelson cradle driver for the 1, 2, 3. I love that Scott is getting this opportunity. And Isaiah Swerve Scott, he's really making a strong case of why he should be considered the next NXT Cruiserweight Champion. And maybe, just maybe at TakeOver Portland, maybe at TakeOver Tampa, maybe at the TakeOver between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, we could very well see Isaiah Swerve Scott gain the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. I definitely would love to see that. So Isaiah Swerve Scott goes to the Fatal 4-Way at Worlds Collide. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, they accepted Mustache Mountain's challenge. They were being interviewed in the backstage area, and Tommaso Ciampa's like, hey, did you see what Mustache Mountain had to say? What do you say, one more time for old time's sake? And Gargano's like, yeah, for old time's sake. So the Undisputed Era was then shown. They were being held back by security guards. Keith Lee came out of nowhere. He pounced a security guard into the perimeter of bushes around Full Sail. So one security guard got pounced into a bush. One security guard got pounced onto the hood of a car. I think it might have been a Mustang. And Keith Lee, he's raging beyond belief. He's pissed beyond imagination. He's screaming at the top of his lungs, Roderick Strong next week, the prophecy dies. I cannot wait to see the North American Championship match between Keith Lee and Roderick Strong. And Angry Keith Lee is one of the best Keith Lees. So we had an advertisement next week for the Undisputed Era versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, and then Imperium versus the Broserweights. Both of those matches are taking place next week, as well as the North American title match. Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, Shotzi Blackheart, Shayna Baszler, MJ Jenkins, Kacy Catanzaro. We had all of these women in the Battle Royal to determine who will face Rhea Ripley at NXT TakeOver Portland. Bianca Belair actually won this match. Shotzi Blackheart ended up eliminating Shayna Baszler, so I can definitely see a big future for Shotzi Blackheart. Bianca Belair and Io Shirai actually had a nice back and forth before Bianca Belair ended up eliminating Io Shirai with the KOD to the outside. Bianca Belair is going to take over Portland. This was the right decision. And a lot of people are questioning it. I understand if you're questioning it. And listen, I don't really know where Bianca Belair is going, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't really know where she's going. Realistically, the right woman to take the title off of Rhea Ripley is Io Shirai at TakeOver Tampa. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Because I did report last week on the Lightning Flash update that Io Shirai is currently unhappy, and Io Shirai is unhappy because she's away from her fiancé, Evil. We could very well see Io Shirai leave. I don't know what's going to happen there. We'll definitely see what happens as far as that goes. I will be sure to keep you guys updated as far as that storyline progresses. But as far as Io Shirai goes, Io Shirai should realistically win the title from Rhea at TakeOver Tampa, and then we should get Io and Candice at TakeOver in Boston. Bianca Belair, either way, is not winning the NXT Women's Championship. Should she have won it already? Yes. Yes, she should have. She should have won it already, and it would have made a lot more sense if she would have won it last year. But they didn't do that because of Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke, because Triple H knew that Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke needed Shayna Baszler in order to remain relevant. They needed a sense of purpose, so he kept Shayna Baszler in NXT for as long as he did as champion, and the only reason why he gave it to Rhea Ripley is because he couldn't have messed up on another opportunity. He couldn't have sacrificed another person in the women's division for Shayna Baszler, no matter if Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke were not ready. And they're not ready. They're still terrible. We don't know what the fate of Marina and Jessamyn is going to be. As far as Bianca Belair goes, she's not winning here. But if she doesn't win the title, then she could very well win the title at the end of the year. But if she doesn't win it there, then she's main roster bound. She's going to the main roster. I really don't see anything else for Bianca Belair to do. She's not winning the title here. They could keep her in NXT and have her win the title at the end of the year, but I don't know if they're really going to do that. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. A lot of things in the NXT women's division right now is just a big question mark. It's the best it's ever been, but again, it's just a big question mark as to who's going to be the next NXT women's champion. Rhea Ripley's not losing that title for a few months at least. She just won it. She's going to retain against Storm. She's going to retain against Belair. And WrestleMania weekend is going to be the deciding factor. Are they going to give it to Shirai? Will Shirai stay with the company? Are we going to get a feud between Shirai and Candice? Is Bianca Belair going up to the main roster? Or are they keeping her in NXT for a women's title reign at the end of 2020? I don't know what's going to happen. Fantastic episode of NXT. Great Battle Royal. Right winner. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Moving on to NXT UK. This was the taped portion before NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2. We had Joseph Connors versus A-Kid. This was a damn good match. I love what A-Kid's been doing. A-Kid hit a German suplex, a Northern Lights suplex for a 2 count on Joseph Connors. We had a beautiful moonsault to the outside by A-Kid before Joseph Connors got back in control with a modified gourd buster and a modified neck snap for a 2 count. Joseph Connors hit the moonsault, but I almost said Ligero. A-Kid caught him in a modified Koji clutch. Joseph Connors was able to fight his way out of that. Joseph Connors was able to hit Don't Look Down, the cradle flatliner, for the win. This was a damn good match, but the ending surprised me. A-Kid has a lot more value than Joseph Connors does right now, and no matter if Joseph Connors can give you a damn good match, which he did, I don't see Joseph Connors factoring into really anything. Where is Joseph Connors going from here? This is why I said they need a mid-card title in NXT UK. I really don't know where Joseph Connors is going to factor in to anything NXT UK related. And, no matter if he can put on a damn good match, I don't believe that anyone's going to take him as a serious threat against a guy like Walter. A-Kid would have really benefited more from the win here. I really hope that A-Kid gets back on the right track, but again, they need a mid-card title in NXT UK. You can't hold it off any longer. NXT UK and AEW Dynamite, they're in the same position right now. They need their mid-card titles. They cannot hold them off any longer. Other than that, it was a damn good match. I love what A-Kid's been doing. Joseph Connors is underrated. NXT UK has also been doing a lot of great stuff as far as getting you excited for what's to come. I just hope they don't fall into a drought period like they did a little while after TakeOver Cardiff. We have 2 Cruiserweight title qualifying matches announced for next week. It is Travis Banks versus the Brian Kendrick and Jordan Devlin versus Ligero. Those 2 matches should be damn good. We also got Jazzy Gabbert versus Killer Kelly. Ilya Dragunov is in action. And Imperium is speaking out about NXT, UK TakeOver Blackpool, and Worlds Collide. Should be a damn good episode next week. And then the second matchup on the show was Dave Mastiff versus Cassius Ohno. Dave Mastiff and Cassius Ohno actually started off very technical. 2 big men starting off very technical. Who knew? That ended very quickly when Dave Mastiff caught Cassius Ohno with a big drop kick. Cassius Ohno was in control, holding Dave Mastiff in a cravat. Mastiff came back with a couple of rolling sentons and then a running senton to Ohno. Dave Mastiff hit a big German suplex on Ohno before Ohno cut Dave Mastiff off at the pass when he went up to the top rope. So Dave Mastiff was on the top rope. Cassius Ohno was looking for something big. I don't necessarily know what he was looking for, but Dave Mastiff had him in a fireman's carry position. He delivers a rolling senton from the middle rope, hits into the void. Dave Mastiff defeats Cassius Ohno. Dave Mastiff is on a winning streak. Decent match here. I would definitely love to see Dave Mastiff as an interim opponent for Walter and the UK title before Walter eventually gets to Ilya Dragunov, who I believe is going to be the next NXT UK World Champion. Is Ilya Dragunov. You can't hold off Ilya Dragunov anymore. But I would definitely love to see Dave Mastiff get an interim title match against Walter. I'd love to see what Dave Mastiff can do against Walter. Dave Mastiff is a very underrated performer, and I think he would shine brightly against Walter. 2 damn good matches here on NXT UK, and NXT UK shaping up to be a damn good show next week. Can't wait to see what they do there. SmackDown on Fox. This was in the same category as SmackDown from last week. Outside of the first half hour, there was really nothing on the show that was worth investing your time in. We had Kane come out. We got Big Show on Raw, Kane on SmackDown. Kane kicked off the show. He said that he loved throwing his opponents over the top rope when he was in the Rumble. It was a lot of fun. Royal Rumble is one of his favorite events of the year. Bray Wyatt popped up on screen, and Bray Wyatt, this was actually very entertaining. Bray Wyatt called Kane a bully. He said that you and the Fiend got it on. No, not like that. Not like that, people. You people are absolutely disgusting. But you know what he was implying. Wyatt, if I can make myself laugh, Wyatt said that he'll never forget Kane, and neither will he, referring to the Fiend. The lights went out, Kane was on the outside, the Fiend came up through the ring. Kane turned around and said, "What took you so long?" Bryan came out of nowhere with a running knee. He started pounding the hell out of the Fiend, and then he actually ripped the Fiend's dreadlocks out. And then Kane and Bryan celebrated in the ring. This actually was not that bad. Kane's promo was a waste of time, but Bray Wyatt was fantastic. Kane drawing Bray Wyatt in for Daniel Bryan to come in with the knee and gain some momentum and gain some redemption on Bray Wyatt was actually very good. Kane and Bryan were arguing in the back before Kane said, good luck at the Rumble. And we did not see Kane for the rest of the show. Not a bad usage for Kane, even though it's Kane, but not a bad usage for Kane. Bryan challenged The Fiend to a strap match at the Rumble. Bryan said that he is sick and tired of The Fiend running away and disappearing down that damn hole in the ring. At the Rumble, he's going to change The Fiend and win the Universal title. I love the passion within Daniel Bryan's promos. I don't know about a strap match, but we'll see what happens. But then again, Bryan and The Fiend, still one of the only things that I am focused on as far as the Royal Rumble goes. John Morrison versus Big E. We got the slow motion entrance for John Morrison. John Morrison looks in phenomenal shape. And yes, you morons, I know. He's still been wrestling outside of WWE. I know that. I'm just saying that it's impressive at 40 years old for John Morrison to still have washboard abs. I am jealous because I'm going to be 21 and I can't even get washboard abs. I'm just saying that he looks in phenomenal shape. Morrison looks great. Looks like he hasn't missed a step. Morrison was in control for the beginning portions of this matchup. A hangman's neck breaker on the outside to Big E. Big E was able to fire back after John Morrison hit a shooting star press. Big E kipped up. He hit Morrison with the belly-to-belly. He was able to hit the big splash. He was going for the big ending. But The Miz got involved. Kofi was able to take The Miz off the apron and sent him into the steel steps. Morrison with a huge cannonball senton, taking out Kofi Kingston. Big E was going for the spear, and The Miz pulled John Morrison out of the way. And I liked the tactics here from Morrison and The Miz. Didn't necessarily get involved. He just got John Morrison out of the way. That was a great usage of The Miz right there. Morrison hit a huge kick to the face. He went for Starship Pain, and it didn't even connect. Morrison completely missed Big E. I would much rather have John Morrison just do a regular corkscrew moonsault than Starship Pain. It does look pretty, but the effectiveness is not believable of Starship Pain. They're really going to have to do a better job at giving John Morrison a better finisher. But it was a decent match. The right man won. John Morrison looks like he hasn't missed a step. The ending was terrible, but the match was decent. John Morrison and The Miz so far have been a major thumbs up for me. I would definitely love to see them win the tag team titles sooner rather than later. The Usos versus The Revival. There was literally no difference between this match and the 30 other matches that we saw between the Usos and The Revival several months ago. The only difference is this went 5 minutes as opposed to 15 minutes. Revival with some double team action, a slingshot suplex, and a slingshot splash. The Usos got involved. Double super kicks to Dash, double super kicks to Dawson. Suicide dive taking out Dawson on the outside. Jey Uso with the big splash. Usos defeat the Revival. This went 5 minutes. Stereotypical Usos and Revival match. The Revival were interrupted by Kayla Braxton. They were interviewed about changing, but they cut away because there was a brawl between Lacey Evans, Sasha, and Bayley. And Sasha actually got hurt per storyline. Her ankle was hurt by Lacey Evans. They were shown in the trainer's room. Sasha said, "Screw Lacey Evans." Bayley said that she's going to break every bone in Lacey Evans' body. Bayley was then told by Adam Pearce, a WWE official, that she would be taking Sasha's place tonight in a match with Lacey Evans. Good job there, WWE. Sonya Deville asked Mandy Rose if Otis would be ringside for her match with Bliss. So they're continuing this Mandy and Otis storyline by adding Sonya Deville in it. Lacey Evans versus Bayley. What do you guys want me to say? What do you really want me to say? This match went 12 minutes. Lacey Evans' offense is so stiff and so sloppy that it's so hard to watch her matches. She is a legit embarrassment to watch in the ring. I don't know what these people are on. People saying that, oh, Lacey Evans is improved. People saying, oh, Lacey Evans, Becky helped elevate Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans plays a good babyface. I don't know what the fuck you are watching. I really don't know. Are your standards really that low? Or are you just that stupid? Her offense is terrible. Her offense is terrible. Her character is terrible. Lacey Evans, the best thing that she did in this match was a head scissor takedown. That was the best thing that she did in her entire main roster run. Bayley got the knees up when she went for a moonsault. Coming back from commercial, Bayley was on the offense, hit a springboard back elbow off the middle rope to Lacey. We had Bayley hitting Lacey with a few strikes here and there. She went off the ropes, caught a women's right. Lacey pinned SmackDown Live Women's Champion. The stereotypical WWE route of you beating the champion, and now you're entitled to a title match. And lo and behold, we get Lacey and Bayley confirmed for the Rumble for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Lacey is terrible as a heel. Lacey is terrible as a babyface. Lacey Evans has been on the main roster for over a year now. She has shown little to no improvement whatsoever. If you find any enjoyment in this woman, if you find any redeeming qualities in this woman, I don't even consider you a human being, let alone a wrestling fan. You need to check yourself into a fucking mental asylum if you actually find enjoyment in Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans is terrible. That is just straight facts. Moving on. Backstage, Chad Gable. I will not address him by his other name. Chad Gable said that Sheamus is insecure about himself and he's going to teach Sheamus how to accept who he is. Sheamus comes in and gets in Gable's face with the short jokes, pats him on the head. Gable then attacked Sheamus until referees and staff member broke up the brawl. Braun Strowman was then interviewed and he declared himself into the Rumble, but he said that he wanted an Intercontinental title match after he beat Shinsuke twice. Elias starts playing his song in the ring before he was interrupted by Sami, Shinsuke, and Cesaro. Sami Zayn denied Strowman's challenge, and he says that they are putting everyone on notice as Shinsuke is entering the Rumble. Elias then stopped Sami before he left. He said that, hey, Sami, I actually wrote a new song. It's called Sami Needs to Shut His Damn Mouth, and the chorus is Shinsuke Sucks. So this led to a brawl between all three of them. Strowman ended up making the save. He took out both Shinsuke and Cesaro, and then Strowman stood tall. Another waste of a segment. Who cares about Elias? Who cares about Strowman? And who cares about a potential matchup with Shinsuke after we've already seen it? It was just a complete waste of time. Complete waste of time. What did I miss? Did I miss anything? No, I didn't. Even if I missed something, can you blame me? Alexa Bliss versus Sonya Deville. I didn't even watch the match. I was actually talking to the keyboard warrior, a.k.a. Peter. Shout out to him. He's from California. He's actually a big supporter of my channel. I definitely owe you a lot. I'm actually appearing on his podcast on January 30th for some wrestling debates. Apparently his daughter and his wife actually love my commentary over at Rescue Mania. So, I definitely appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to your family. I definitely hope that you and your family have a great 2020. I definitely hope that you and your family have an awesome year. Go to a lot of wrestling events. I definitely hope you continue to find enjoyment in my content. And I definitely owe you a lot. Thank you, man. But Alexa Bliss and Sonya Deville, I wasn't even watching this match. All I know is that Mandy Rose was up on the top turnbuckle. She was knocked down by Nikki Cross. This led to Otis catching her, and the facial expressions between Otis and Mandy had me laughing my ass off. Alexa Bliss rolled up Sonya Deville for the win. Who cares about Alexa Bliss? Alexa Bliss is a worthless excuse for a women's wrestler. This is not women's wrestling. See how many fucking feminists and social justice warriors will come at me. This is not women's wrestling. If you want women's wrestling, go watch what Kaylee Ray, Toni Storm, and Piper Niven did at NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2 for 14 minutes. That's women's wrestling. Not this bullshit. Otis and Mandy are fantastic, though. We have 2 matches confirmed for the Rumble. Like I said already, it was Lacey and Bayley. And then we got Chad Gable and Sheamus confirmed for the Rumble as well. Robert Roode, Bobby Roode, whatever the hell you want to call him. Robert Roode. Robert Bobby Roode. He took on Roman in a tables match. He actually attacked Roman before the match even began. Roman got back in control. He was going for a spear through the barricade. Robert Roode sidestepped it. Roman went sailing into the barricade. King Corbin then came out. Same stereotypical bullshit. Dolph Ziggler then got involved. The Usos got involved. We had a double splash to Dolph Ziggler through the announce table. A spear by Roman Reigns to Robert Roode through a table in the ring. Roman selected a Falls Count Anywhere match versus Corbin at the Royal Rumble. This storyline is just as bad as the Lana Lashley Rusev storyline. So now, not only do we have to sit through a boring-ass TLC match at TLC, now we have to sit through a Falls Count Anywhere match at the Rumble. And on top of that, we gotta sit through Roman twice in one night as he's facing Corbin, and then he's more than likely gonna win the Royal Rumble. If you support Roman winning the Royal Rumble, I have no fucking respect for you whatsoever. I really don't. Boring, stereotypical rerun of SmackDown Live. Moving on to 205 Live. Last show of the weekly show reviews before we get into the news, rumors, and reports. This was actually a damn good episode of 205 Live. Much better than last week. We had 2 damn good matches. The first one was between Tyler Breeze and Arya Daivari. I'm loving what they're doing with Tyler Breeze on 205 Live. This was a good match, and props to them. They actually got the crowd back into this match. After a 2-hour episode of SmackDown, this is how good Tyler Breeze really is. Tyler Breeze was able to fire back from the offense that Arya Daivari was delivering. Arya Daivari was working on Tyler Breeze. A lot of rest holds in this match. But Tyler Breeze picked up the pace, a few forearm strikes, straight jacket, backbreaker for a 2 count. Arya Daivari hit a beautiful Uranagi, beautiful rock bottom for a 2 count. Tyler Breeze was being shouted at by Arya Daivari, saying, "No one wants you here, go away." Tyler Breeze hit a supermodel kick, but Arya Daivari kicked out. Arya Daivari hit a hip toss to Tyler Breeze into the corner. Tyler Breeze was able to dodge the hammerlock lariat twice, hit the beauty shot. Tyler Breeze wins. Good match to kick off the show. Tyler Breeze is 2-0 on 205 Live. Definitely want to see more Tyler Breeze on 205 Live. Lio Rush versus Sunil Singh. Singh brothers are terrible, but thank God Lio Rush won this match. They actually tried Twin Magic, but the referee obviously recognized that they switched. So Sunil was in the ring. Lio Rush actually did a beautiful combination here with a wrecking ball dropkick to the outside. He took out Samir, and then in one fluid motion, he bounced back into the come-up on Sunil Singh. Lio Rush is fantastic. We had the final hour, and Lio Rush defeated Sunil Singh. Lio Rush gets back into winning ways. Before we continue, actually, can I also mention that Mansoor was actually on commentary, and I actually got to give credit to Mansoor. Mansoor actually did a fairly decent job on commentary. So Mansoor, he's a damn good wrestler, and he's a damn good commentator. Props to him there. Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Raul Mendoza. This was a very good match. I love the chemistry between Raul Mendoza and Isaiah Swerve Scott. I think this went about 13 minutes. We had Isaiah Swerve Scott hitting a roll-through flatliner Raul Mendoza landed right on the top of his head. Raul Mendoza was able to gain control when we had a roundhouse kick to the side of Swerve's head, and then a fisherman driver, 2 count right there. We had a beautiful combination where Raul Mendoza hit a springboard Hurricane Rana to Swerve off the top rope, and then he did a Lionsault off the bottom rope, not the middle rope, the bottom rope, and he actually landed it perfectly. 2 count there on Swerve. Raul Mendoza hit a tightrope drop kick, sending Swerve to the outside, and then a Fosby flop. Raul Mendoza is fantastic, and he actually looked like he was on the verge of victory. He went for the Phoenix Splash, but Raul Mendoza moved out, Isaiah Swerve Scott moved out of the way. Raul Mendoza crashed and burned. Isaiah Swerve Scott with a big knee and the house call kick. Isaiah Swerve Scott wins. Very good main event. Loving what they're doing with Isaiah Swerve Scott, and Isaiah Swerve Scott looks strong going into his Cruiserweight title match at Worlds Collide. That wraps up the weekly show reviews. Let's get into the news, rumors, and reports before we get out of here. My first report coming from PW Insider, WWE is planning on heading back to Saudi Arabia on Thursday, February 20th. I ask, why? Why do we need that? After we have NXT TakeOver Portland and AEW Revolution, and on top of that, we have the Elimination Chamber on March 8th. Why not spend that time building towards the Elimination Chamber? They really need to do a better job at planning and scheduling the dates of these Saudi Arabian events. And on top of that, they don't even put effort into them. I say this all the time. If you're not going to put effort into your weekly shows, at least try. At least try and put effort into your pay-per-views. Super Showdown of last year. That pay-per-view went into the 2019 pay-per-view section on the WWE Network. When people look up and down that card, they're going to be like, what the fuck is this shit? And on top of that, it actually started off decent. It actually started off with a decent Universal title match with Corbin and Rollins, and then a damn good IC title match between Balor and Andrade, and then after that, everything turned to shit. And especially after the recent announcement, after the recent leaks, I seen the horrific leaks on Twitter before SmackDown Live that Bray Wyatt could very well defend the Universal title against Kane, and that was actually on my mind throughout the entire Kane segment on SmackDown Live. I swear to God, if we get that, I don't even know what to tell you. They really need to do a better job at scheduling these events, and they really need to do a better job at putting effort into them. If this happens, it's going to go in the 2020 pay-per-view section of the WWE Network, and people are going to look up and down the card, and they're going to be like, this was a fucking pay-per-view? At least the people with brains are going to be like, this was a fucking pay-per-view? Come on. Moving on. Brian Cage. Brian Cage has actually been the talk of the town as of lately. Brian Cage was reported by SoCalUncensored.com to have signed a multi-year deal with AEW, as well as multiple sources also claimed that he signed, but his wife came out a few days later and shut down the reports. No other reports surrounding the subject have followed since then. Now, I don't buy Brian Cage's wife for 1 second. Brian Cage, more likely than not, has signed with AEW, and right now it's all a matter of when. And if I'm going to make a prediction of when that could happen, I am going to go with Brian Cage appearing at AEW Revolution on February 29th. This is actually a great signing for AEW. Brian Cage, he's great at what he does. I don't follow Impact, but I know what Brian Cage is all about. I know how good Brian Cage is. I know the intensity that Brian Cage brings. I know the in-ring ability that Brian Cage has. The man is a fucking machine. The man is jacked as shit. The man is a freak of nature. He's like fucking Terminator. And I am loving that they are really bolstering their roster up. Brian Cage, I think he could start off in the mid-card. If not, then him being thrusted into a feud with a major star to kick off his AEW career could really benefit. If they show him in the crowd at AEW Revolution, I would definitely love to see that as well. But Brian Cage signing with AEW opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. I'm definitely keeping my eye on Brian Cage, especially come AEW Revolution, if he decides to show up, which I believe he will. PW Insider. They reported that the Revival recently filed an interesting trademark. Dash and Dawson filed to trademark the name Shatter Machine, which is the name of their WWE finisher, as many already know. This has led to a lot of speculation that this could be their new name outside of WWE. At this rate, like I've stated in the past, the Revival's as good as gone. Revival's as good as gone. I don't really know what you want me to say as far as this goes. The WWE, just last week, I was reporting that they are quote-unquote very confident that the Revival is re-signing. Meanwhile, now this week, they recently filed for a trademark for Shatter Machine. More likely than not, they're going to be called Shatter Machine outside of WWE. The Revival is set in their ways. How many times have WWE offered the Revival new contracts? 4 times now. 3 of those came with tag team title reigns. They gave them the tag team titles in February, in June, and in September. The Revival refused. And the Revival were even bringing attention to the fact that they had been mistreated on WWE television on SmackDown. A lot of people were getting scared that the Revival were going to re-sign, but based on everything that's been going on, do you really think that they are? You really think that they are going to re-sign after everything that WWE's done to them? If they do, I will have absolutely no respect for Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. But based on everything that's been going on, this is just another nail in the coffin that the Revival's gone. Come the summertime, the Revival will be AEW bound, and they're going to be sending shockwaves throughout the AEW tag team division. There's no doubt in my mind that they will. There's no doubt in my mind. Moving on. It was first reported back in October that the Velveteen Dream was dealing with back problems. Yes, Patrick Clark, the Velveteen Dream. Dave Meltzer noted on the latest edition of Wrestling Observer Radio that Dream's back injury was quote-unquote pretty serious, but there's no word yet on when he will be back. Now, I wish Patrick Clark a very speedy recovery. I never would want to see anyone get injured. But if you think about this logically here, this injury could very well be a blessing in disguise. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is the fact that Velveteen Dream, right now, he's one of the best things about WWE television, or he was when he was North American champion. He's always been one of the best things about WWE television, especially after that feud with Aleister Black. Right now, Velveteen Dream is in a position in which he's going to be missed. And when he comes back to NXT, he has some loose ends to tie up. And he's probably going to be the hottest babyface in the company when he comes back. Everyone loves the Velveteen Dream. After what he's been doing, after the classics that he's been putting on, after the excellent title reign that he had, the charisma that just oozes off Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream's a total package. And more likely than not, Velveteen Dream, if he didn't get injured, he would have been featured in the 5-on-5-on-5 Survivor Series match between NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, and he would probably be set to debut at the Rumble. But I don't want to see Velveteen Dream on the main roster. I really don't. In the hands of Vince McMahon, you take a look at everyone that has gone up from NXT, and 95% of the NXT call-ups have been buried, treated poorly, or just completely flopped because of WWE's poor mistreatment. Or poor treatment of them. Poor treatment of them. Outside, realistically speaking, outside of the 3 members of The Shield, outside of Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, Kevin Owens, and Becky Lynch, outside of those 7 individuals, who on the main roster has realistically gone to have long, lucrative careers? Maybe Shinsuke Nakamura could be considered someone, maybe Bayley, but you take a look at the large amounts of talent that have just come up from NXT and just been thrown to the wolves and treated like shit. Kalisto, Sin Cara, Bo Dallas, Apollo Crews, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, Ember Moon, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Baron Corbin, The Revival, Enzo and Cass, the Vaudevillains, The Ascension, the Wyatt family, Robert Roode, Drew McIntyre, Shawn Spears, Pac, Tyler Breeze. The list goes on and on. So why would you want to be in a rush to see Velveteen Dream on the main roster? This could realistically be a blessing in disguise, and this could very well keep Velveteen Dream in NXT just a little bit longer. So I'm in no rush to see Velveteen Dream on the main roster. I do hope he has a speedy recovery, but I don't want to see him on the main roster right now. Speaking of Dave Meltzer, he actually spoke on the Wrestling Observer Radio about EC3. Dave Meltzer was asked if Paul Heyman could push EC3. Meltzer said that it was unlikely as Vince McMahon already made up his mind. He stated, and I quote, "I think that Vince gave up on EC3 real fast. And I don't think they did a tryout with EC3 in April, putting him together with Drake Maverick like they were in TNA, and Vince hated it too. So I don't think this is a Paul Heyman call." End quote. Again, pay attention to what I said earlier. He was asked if Paul Heyman could push EC3, but Meltzer said it was unlikely as Vince McMahon has already made up his mind. So what does that prove, ladies and gentlemen? That proves that Vince McMahon's announcement and WWE's tweet of Heyman and Bischoff over the summer was nothing more than clickbait. Vince is still running the show. Vince still has the last call. Paul Heyman ain't doing jack shit. Paul Heyman, he's said to be, quote-unquote, the executive director. He's even said out in public on WWE TV that he has stroke around here. That's Vince McMahon trying to get all the idiots in the community to calm down. That's Vince McMahon trying to get all the idiots in the community to buy into the bullshit, draw them into a false sense of hope that things are going to change. But realistically, nothing is going to change. Just like I said on the Rewind for Extreme Rules back in July, the only way that this company is improving is when the angel of death comes down from above and claims Vince McMahon's soul. The only other hope that we have outside of the angel of death is the XFL. The only other hope that we have is Vince McMahon's obligations with the XFL becoming too much for him to handle, that he may have no choice but to step down. But even then, I don't even think that's going to happen. We'll have to see what happens, but again, Vince McMahon is still running Raw. And it sucks because EC3, he actually has a lot of talent in him. He's a damn good wrestler. He was actually starting to pick up some momentum in NXT. He's a great promo. He's got a great look. But what? He was put in the ring with Jon Moxley. He beat Jon Moxley one week, lost to Jon Moxley the next week, and then he was proceededly buried and put on main event for months and months on end. I feel bad for EC3. I really do. I feel so bad for EC3. Moving on. TNT and AEW have recently agreed to an extended multi-year pact through 2023. We were notified on Twitter, and we have been notified that Dynamite has been pulling in 1.2 million overall viewers, both live and DVR'd, and the parties have both agreed to launch another night of AEW action with another straight-to-series TV show. It is expected to be AEW Dark. That currently airs on their YouTube channel every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. More word on this as the months go on. This is huge, and I am so happy for AEW. AEW has been doing a lot of great shit. They're not perfect. They're not perfect by a long shot, and trust me, I have ranted and raved on their flaws a lot. But what they've been doing some great stuff. If they end up doing AEW Dark on a station on cable television, they could do that on TNT. I definitely wouldn't mind that. AEW Dark definitely offers a lot. It definitely gives people wins that need wins. It has furthered the storylines, like I've said in the past. And to all the people that are saying that AEW wasn't going to last more than a year, how do you feel about them now? Oh, by the way, you idiots, AEW was dead by the end of 2020, people were saying. Meanwhile, AEW pulled in nearly 1 million live viewers 3 weeks in a row. We are 3 weeks into 2020, and AEW pulled over 900,000 viewers live. Almost 1 million viewers live for all 3 of their shows for 2020 so far. How does it feel to be an idiot? I'll keep you updated as far as what's going on, as far as when this straight-to-series TV show will happen, probably at the end of the year. We'll definitely see what happens there. But my final report, as far as the Lightning Flash update goes, before we get out of here, and I wanna go home. I think I'm gonna go for some pulled pork, a pulled pork sandwich. I could use some of that. I think I'm gonna have a nice, hefty pulled pork sandwich for lunch. But by the time you guys are watching this, it's probably going to be dinner time. But regardless, I'm going to make you guys hungry either way. Marty Scurll, the villain. Shh. Marty Scurll. He got a lot of people talking when he re-signed with Ring of Honor. Mike Johnson first broke the news, but he did not confirm the length of Scurll's new contract. Scurll's new contract has gifted him the ability to work alongside Delirious as Ring of Honor head of creative capacity. Meltzer also reported that Scurll's contract also gives him the ability to appear on New Japan Pro Wrestling and NWA. As we saw, he appeared on NWA Power's Into the Fire event confronting Nick Aldis. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer also reported that Scurll wants to create a bridge between Ring of Honor and AEW. He stated, and I quote, "He's friends with the Young Bucks, and he wants to have a working relationship between AEW and Ring of Honor. That's his goal. He's going to attempt to do that. I don't know if that's going to happen, but those guys will certainly listen. I think that's a tough one, because I don't know what ROH has for AEW, unlike New Japan, where you can see what AEW would get from the relationship." End quote. Now, normally, the first half of the report, I really thought that Marty Scurll was just signing for the riches and the rewards, because Ring of Honor was offering him all this money, and they were offering him creative control, and realistically, a lot of people, like Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin, they brag about their money, and they make themselves look like idiots. So I feel as though Marty Scurll originally was just signing with Ring of Honor just for the money, and there was really no passion. There was no passion for the business. There was no passion to better his craft and gain more for himself. But then I hear this report about him wanting to join Ring of Honor and AEW in a working relationship, and this could be huge. Ring of Honor right now, Ring of Honor's been a sinking ship, and if they don't do something, the only place that Ring of Honor's going is the grave. I'm surprised they haven't gone under in 2019. But this is huge. This is huge because you have Ring of Honor, and you have the talent in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor actually has some underrated talent. Flip Gordon, Jay Lethal, Roosh, and we could see some of those guys appearing on AEW Dynamite and pay-per-views. AEW could very well give their talent to Ring of Honor and help Ring of Honor generate some more interest. And you do have to remember that Ring of Honor is currently in a partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So we do see some connections there between Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe Ring of Honor could be a bridge for AEW to get to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Chris Jericho did mention Wrestle Kingdom on Dynamite, and that gave everyone a hint that New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW could very well be in a partnership in the future. Maybe we could be in for a 3-promotion partnership between Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and All Elite Wrestling, which could very well shake the foundation of professional wrestling as we know it. We don't know what's going to happen. 2020, it's going to be a very interesting year. We don't know how this is going to work out, but Ring of Honor, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, everyone's going to have their eyes on this. Everyone's going to have their eyes on Marty Scurll. We could very well be seeing Marty Scurll on AEW television, as he does have leeway with this new contract. Again, a 3-promotion partnership, this is fucking huge. We have not seen this. This could be one of the biggest things that has happened in the professional wrestling world probably since the days of the Attitude Era. We have never seen this before. And Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and AEW in a 3-promotion partnership, if that ends up happening, you know, we're going to be in for a very, very, very interesting 2020. And all of these promotions outside of the WWE main roster product, they're going to be in the eyes of the wrestling community. They're going to be in the eyes of the mainstream. And WWE is going to be the least talked about promotion as far as main roster programming goes for 2020. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. I am very interested to see how this plays out. Marty Scurll, he could be the mad scientist in all of this, and he could create this one big Frankenstein monster between New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and AEW. Should be very interesting to see how it plays out. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. We've been going for almost 2 hours. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Leave a like if you haven't already done so. Let's try and get this video to 15 likes. Leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on the weekly shows and the news, rumors, and reports? Hit that subscribe button and hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it's the best time to be on YouTube. Rundown for the Royal Rumble should be up next Thursday. Next Thursday I also start college. I will keep you guys updated on my uploading schedule. Next Friday is the rundown for Worlds Collide, in which I am going to attempt to get Sid the Nerdy Mark and John Kearns and Tim Farley from Armbar Audio on the show. And finally, next Saturday, Lightning Flash Update. Do not forget to check it out. Again, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. You guys really missed me. You really, really missed me. I'm so glad I put on this college shirt for you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I'll see you next Thursday for the rundown for the Royal Rumble.